I was writing the life story, and this is a book that's it's still, we've been writing this story since 2012. A guy who had the world record for the 100 meters. He was the world's fastest human before Usain Bolt. He was in prison. He got done he busted for doping in an FBI scandal. They raided this laboratory, found a number of files. His initials were on them. He got brought to a jury, and he was found guilty for using designer steroids, and as part of a major scandal called the Balco scandal, which was huge in the early 2000s, and it involved a lot of Major League Baseball players, Barry Bonds, a lot of athletes, and he was one of them. And then he was trying to defend his case because he'd never failed a drugs test. He had nightclubs, he had cars. This guy, you imagine, this guy's the world's fastest human, and he's going out with the world's fastest woman, the two of them, and they were the big I-ams of athletics at the time. They're in penthouses, they've got cars, they've got houses, millions of dollars. And all of a sudden, he's finding himself defending his trial, and he started selling heroin. He got set up by the FBI. He got jailed, got incarcerated, and how the mighty fall. I got in touch with him while he was in jail, and I said, "Is anyone writing your story? It's fascinating." I didn't know the half of his life story. I mean, it is absolutely fascinating, and I decided with him, I said, well, I'm going to write your story. I said, I'm not a journalist, but I know I can write this story. I'm a decent writer, and we'll write it. My mum's an editor, she'll help. Let's write a couple of chapters for you, interview you, and if you like how we write them, because it's capturing his voice, you see, it's not my voice, it's writing as his voice. I'm a ghostwriter, so you've got to capture it in a South Carolina American drawl, you know. But during this process of writing his life story, Al Jazeera got in touch with me, or got in touch with him. Al Jazeera are a documentary filmmaking company who work out of Doha, but they've got offices all around the world, Washington, D.C., and they're funded by the Qatari royal family. And the beautiful thing about them is that because of the unlimited funds available to them, they can pursue documentaries and ideas and themes which normally you'd never have the budget for. 100 grand doesn't get you far in a documentary. Right, it doesn't get you far at all with plane tickets and going here and doing this and equipment and hiring this and paying people. And,
I mean, it depends on the size and scope.
Yeah, but now
the
usually
the issue, the more locations.
Yeah, and if you've got to go and do something for 2 months, 3 months, 4 months, 6 months, 8 months, the money is going to be large, you know. So that's why Al Jazeera are able to tackle such great topics, because they have the funds to just go until they get the results. And if they want to keep going, they'll just keep going until they get the results. So they asked me, did I want to help them with it? It was 2015.
And I've seen, so just to let you know, like I've watched bits above it. It was quite fascinating if you just go from hotel, me and this guy going over.
Yes. I mean, I had to play the role.
And I'm like, yeah, I really just want to get back. I mean, it was kind of interesting. It was a bit like wrestling, where they took your real life story and then it kind of like tried
morphed
to
it. Yeah. That's why, for me, I'm not an actor, but I was able to play this role because there was parts of it which were all true, you know, at different times.
It was tapping into some of your real life frustrations.
That's right. Yeah. That's right. Exactly. So I was playing the role of an athlete who was trying to get to the Rio Olympics. I was past my prime, but I was one of the best in the world for my age in the Masters athletics category. I'd won European titles, broken a world record in the Masters athletics, and I just wanted that extra edge to get there. And I had money. I mean, I didn't actually have money at this point at all, but I had to play, because when they Googled me, they'd see some stuff from the Property Time where it had failed businesses, blah, blah, blah. So that sort of... the bad stuff, the bad press that I had actually helped me, because they thought, oh, this guy's a little bit dodgy, you know. It didn't make them trust me, but it made them think he's probably got some money.
Right.
Right? It didn't make them...
It's hard to trust anyone in that life when you're like in the... You know,
yeah, I mean, when I flew to Washington, D.C. thinking I was going to get an interview, and I sat with the assistant producer, and they showed me a file, which I've got in my van, and they had identified a number of people who they thought were dodgy: chiropractics, osteopaths, managers, sport therapists, agents, many of which I knew of, and many I didn't. And I looked at the file, studied it, and they said, okay, let's put you on a phone call to some people, and they film me, and straight away.
So you turning up for what you think is an interview.
I think it's an interview. I think I'm looking to possibly get the job to go undercover, and my reasons for going undercover was I'd done this cleanly, and I wanted to know what athletes were taking, some of which who might have been taking stuff to beat me, some of which were taking it to win, and also the major thing was what are the Jamaicans taking? What's Usain Bolt taking? Is he taking anything? Is he clean? Has he done this clean? And I wanted to know. I was like, this is fascinating.
Especially as someone who's lived that
fascinating.
life. Fascinating.
Absolutely fascinating.
So they're saying, come out, meet us because...
They're saying, look, you're going to have to play the role of a wealthy guy who's got a chance at this. We think you're the perfectly suited guy because you're still in athletics. You've got to...
do they approach you saying, hi, we want you for a thing, or do you go...
They approached Tim Montgomery, the guy who had the world record, to see, and Tim said, look, I'm on probation, I can't leave the state, you should speak to my author, Liam, in Newcastle.
Right, okay.
I was cutting the grass in Newcastle at the time, and the phone call goes, and they said, we're interested in you being involved, would you be interested in going undercover to find out? And I said, I would, I'll speak to my family and my wife at the time, and we'll speak over. And I wanted to know the risks. What the risks? I'd not done anything like this before. I'm being wired up, wired cameras. You're a spy. Essentially, you got video cameras in your watch, your phone, everywhere. And as I'm going to.
You don't know if there's repercussions. Who's involved? How far?
Who's involved? How dangerous are these people? And how much? And how much do I want that information? What am I willing to do to get this secret information as an athlete? And in the end, we discussed it about the risks. Are not that high. We're not talking drug dealers, gangsters here. We're talking chiropractics, osteopaths. Okay, so I think I can fight my way out of most rooms with most people, and I should be all right. And so when I went to this interview, and they said, look, let's pick up the phone to this guy and let's see how you go. And being a street performer for 20 odd years at the time, and being a salesman, a guy who I secured 100 million worth of property investment from one of the richest guys in the country in London to invest in my fund, just off the back of a meeting. So I've obviously got some skills in sales which are good enough to make people like me and trust me early on. And I didn't know I had these necessarily. I just thought my property company was that good that you want to invest in. Clearly not, because it went bankrupt. But at the time, the people who invested because they like me and they trust me. People in the street, they pay because they like and they trust me. And now I'm in a position where it goes, you need to be very aware of this gift you've got, because essentially we need you to abuse it. We need you to use it for our benefit to get the information. And it's not good enough for you to just go undercover and get the information, because this isn't a police thing. This is a documentary. So we're not looking to put these guys on the stand. We're just looking to make a documentary and show the world what the Jamaicans or what the elites are doing to circumvent the doping system and to cheat. And it's not enough for you to get the intel. We need you to get the camera angles. So it's like, I'd come back sometimes from these meetings and I'd be so excited with all the information. They go, that's brilliant, but we need to go and get you to do it again because we couldn't quite see. You didn't get the camera angles right. And it's like, wow, this is a whole new set. I've got to get these people you don't get into these circles. I mean, no one gets into these circles. And I had to get them to like me, to trust me, to tell me all their secrets.
And sometimes tell it twice.
And get the camera angles inside 1 or 2 therapy sessions with these guys. So, I'm having a therapy session. So if they're a chiropractor, I'm getting seen.